Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax. Except you, that person driving. Sit up and keep your eyes on the road. Your ears, though, can still listen as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Goofballs, the Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
Me, Rob. Let's get you some news.
You. And you might say, hold on a second, it's Two Giant Goofballs, but there's a third person. And if you guys don't know who that man at the bottom of your screen is right now, then I got to question whether you guys are actually Giants fans at all. The Entertainah in the house.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Man? I love the intro, by the way. That was awesome. But yeah, anytime a Giants podcast tries to reach out, get me on. I always love to come on, talk Giants football, and excited to get to know you guys a little bit better. And I was telling you before we went live, I already know I got that book in the background, so we have that in common. I'm actually a big Star Wars fan as well, so we have that in common. So I'm glad to be on the channel. I'm glad to talk Giants football with you guys.
Now the question is, do you also have a New York Giants traveling gnome? Because that is key, I think, to any man cave automatically.
I don't. That's something that I definitely need to add to my question. I don't have that yet.
I've actually taken it to shows that I've done live at bars and everything too. It's a lot of fun. I've actually people offer me money for the gnome. Of all the things I have, the gnome has been the thing people have offered me money for.
I got mine hanging on the bar.
So we got some big news, obviously, today. And I got to say, we plan on having this conversation here about the New York Football Giants quarterbacks here a couple of days ago. And we're like, let's do a positional breakdown. And who better to get than the Entertainah himself here to go ahead and talk the quarterbacks here for the New York Giants. And then all of a sudden, in the last 24 hours, whew, telling you guys,
things heated up
my eyes are like hurting from staring at all the different news coming out bit by bit by bit. It's like, what? All of a sudden, floodgates opened up, and all the news just started pouring in, and there's a lot to go through. But there's also a lot of
show me the money.
Oh, listen, show me the money. Listen. I don't know about you guys, but when I go for a job, I don't go. I think this is fair. Pay me what you think you should pay me, and we'll be all right. Listen, I'm going for every single dime I can. I'm going for the throat. Ask my boss; he'll tell you point blank. I don't play like that. Give me as much money as I possibly can get. And I'm not going to begrudge anybody who wants it. That's for sure. So those who aren't updated what's going on here, let's give you guys the breakdown of everything going on. So it all really happened last night with Jordan Ronan talking. He said the Giants QB Daniel Jones in the process of making an agent change with new contract and free agency on the horizon per sources. He was being represented by CAA. Expectations is he's joining Athletes First. Not sure how much impact it will have, but it's at least interesting. And he's not wrong. It's definitely interesting. So Athletes First is the rep for Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, and Matt Ryan. So they have been through some very, very big quarterback deals, obviously, over the years. And obviously have a lot more money than all three of us combined. I think it's safe to say that those commission checks they're getting are pretty good.
That's the same agency I think that Xavier McKinney just switched to, too, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, you talk about those quarterbacks, though. I mean, Aaron Rodgers set the market, $50 million right now, at least on a per-year average. He's the highest-paid quarterback in football. Mm-hmm. I think Deshaun Watson got the most guaranteed money.
I think it's safe to say.
Yeah. So, they obviously have a history of getting the most for their clients. And I'm sure Daniel Jones is trying to get every dollar that he could possibly get. But, this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. I understand, when the figures came out today, and who knows how legitimate they are. I get that it's, eye-opening. Just because he's asking for $45 million doesn't mean he's going to get it. I could ask to try to date, Gail Gadot. It doesn't mean I'm going to end up with her. I'm probably going to end up with somebody that's half a Gail Gadot. And I think that's what Daniel Jones right now is thinking about, right? Now, he's like,
I got to ask,
I'm going to shoot for 45. My mark is probably 35, but I'm going to try to shoot as high as I possibly can.
Now, are you going for the upper half of Gal Gadot, or are you going for the bottom half? Like, are you picking a half like that, the left
The whole,
to the
the
right?
whole thing.
Just like,
I
how
want
is
the
this-
whole thing.
I think her husband might have something to say about that.
I didn't know she was married.
Rebel Wilson.
You just broke my heart.
Listen, I got to say this for those who aren't aware, and I'll give you a heads up here. We do go on tangents sometimes. So, her husband is like a regular looking guy. So kudos to her on that. He is.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
I feel like you look at him and you go, wait a minute. What's going on here? But like she must be like that girl that like didn't like get good looking until after high school because she like kept herself grounded somehow. Like I'm not sure how that works like that, but yeah, he's a regular looking guy. He's not the GQ guy or the guy she meets on the runway on every single movie she does. So but yeah, so back to Daniel Jones here. So after that we had Ryan Dunleavy, New York Post, saying, "I'm told Giants negotiation with Daniel Jones got off to a much bumpier start than expected.
Something we don't know.
Very much in play." Yeah. Then you got Wes Steinberg, the parody account king himself, going in last night with Daniel Jones does not believe he will be playing for the Giants next season. And we have said this numerous times in the show, guys. If you guys aren't aware, Wesley Steinberg is a parody account. It is a fake account. Ignore it, except for the.
I'm not gonna say who it is. I know who Wesley Steinberg. I know who he is, and it is completely a parody account. So don't read anything into the Wesley Steinberg thing.
I can tell you this as well. I did a reverse image search one day on the Twitter account page, the picture on it.
Don't even bother. You're never gonna find out who it is.
No. But here's the funny thing though. The picture he used is a lawyer out of California.
Oh, he probably just Googled it. Yeah, he probably just Googled it.
I'm telling you right now.
Is it you?
I'm making a parody.
It's not me. It's not me.
If I'm making a parody, the last thing I'm doing is using a lawyer. I'm not going anywhere near a lawyer's picture. That's the level. Get me a suit that has no law degree whatsoever. So after that, the big news today was Mike Florio of PFT talking, and he said, agent changes points to franchise tag for Jones. He says Jones wants more than the Giants have offered, possibly as much as $45 million per year or more. And let me just say this. When everybody says the word possibly when they're reporting, that makes me go BS right off the bat. I'm sorry, but when I hear possibly, then that means your source is not that good, or you owe a favor to
Can I throw out a Giants? Can I throw out an hypothesis for who I think his source is?
Go for it.
I think his source. I think it's Chris Sims. They do a show together. Sims obviously has some kind of, at least a little bit of a connection to the New York Giants. I bet you, my guess is Chris Sims came up to him and said, I think, or I heard that they're going to come in hot with a $45 million offer and trying to negotiate. Like, I bet you it's something like that. I don't think like Mike Florio has a connection to like Joe Shane or, somebody that works for the New York Giants or somebody with the Daniel Jones camp that told him that. I think it's complete nonsense and it's clickbait. That's what it is.
See, I think personally that he has a connection to somebody within Athletes First or somebody from Athletes First.
That's
in
possible.
A roundabout way got it to him because they're going to go, hey, $45 million. So now when he signs for 40, it doesn't seem as bad because he wanted 45. We still won. And you're kind of getting the people up and up and up in his value all of a sudden. Like I said, I have no inside knowledge in that, so I'm by no means making an accusation in case the real Wes Steinberg, the lawyer, is listening. But like I said, and that's what I personally think is going on with no evidence to support it. So I'll say this, though. You talk about $45 million. Let's go down the list of people, the list of quarterbacks making $40 million plus. Dak Prescott, Matt Stafford, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers. That's a list that I'm sorry, and
he's better than Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
listen,
I didn't think much this year.
Wilson at this point. I think I'm probably better than Russell Wilson at this point here. I mean, it's kind of like wow, talk about a fall from grace. But it's kind of like I don't think I put him in that elite status here. Now we talked about multiple times the transition tag being $32.416 million. That puts him in the category with guys like Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins. Now, you could say, as of right now, I think he's in that group. with the potential to get better.
I think that's
those guys
fair.
have probably peaked.
Yeah. I think that's fair. If you're asking me who I'd rather have Jones because I don't think he's peaked yet. And I think he's got further room to grow. But yeah, I think to put him in that conversation, at least as of now, from a value standpoint, to say the Tannehills, I think you said Cousins. Yeah, like that's where I think his market is, which is roughly around 35 when you factor in the increasing market this year. Like that's around where I've had him for, over a month. That's where I think his market is.
Yeah, great. No, I've been saying ad nauseum for the past month that he's probably getting 36.
Yeah, between 35 and 38. That's what I think he's getting.
Well, of the two of us, though, Rob is definitely the Jones fan. He called Jones to be a Pro Bowler at the start of the season. I'm just calling that out right now. He was not a Pro Bowler.
I'll tell you what.
Rob. He was not a Pro Bowler.
I'll tell you what, Rob. You weren't far off. Tyler Huntley made the Pro Bowl from the Ravens, so
yeah, that was
a strong argument that Daniel Jones should have been.
And he only made it why because Josh Allen wants to go play golf.
Quarterback, he definitely would have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that's
sad when you end up golf or playing football. That
all right. So what is it? 3 quarterbacks from each conference make the Pro Bowl. So like with obviously Hurts was going to be above him this year. Nobody else, I guess. No, I don't think Dak had a good year. Dak led the league in picks.
No.
And he missed, so I put him above Dak this year.
Yeah.
He's above anybody on Washington. NFC North, he's above Fields. He's above. I maybe Rodgers still above him. I don't remember the year that Rodgers finished with, but he's
I would put
Rodgers
above him. I would put Kirk Cousins and him kind of equal.
And Goff. Goff had a good statistical year, but he was at least in the conversation.
Him, actually.
Yeah, Goff had a good year. Goff had a very good year.
Yeah. Well, listen, 1 or 2 more people called out of work, and next thing you know, he was getting called in his day off. That's all there is to it. So
yeah, he had a good year. He had a very good year.
Not as good as Henley, apparently.
Yeah. So, news also from Ryan Dunleavy. He waived the 5-day waiting period of a part of cutting ties with Jones, who can now have athletes first negotiate for him immediately. Sources tell NY Post Sports. And then Mike Garofalo says the reason the Giants did not start negotiations sooner is because he knew he was mulling a change. Now the big question comes into be is he interested in the change because he wasn't happy with how much the previous agents were asking? Or was he happy with how much they were getting offered? And I've heard both stories on this as possibilities. And I imagine a scenario from Jones where I'm like, dude, you're too much money, man. I don't want to make that much money.
Who needs an extra $12 million a year?
Like, my bank account can't handle that. The future generations must fend for themselves. Damn it.
Yeah.
Like it's not gonna happen. Like people that are actually talking about that as being legit, because I'm like, no, that can't be. Like, I can't imagine any scenario where that's the scenario. I think the Giants went in low ball offer, and obviously he went in the high ball offer, and that's the way negotiation works. That's not personal; it's business.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, for all we know, Shane.
I think.
Oh, just go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You there? Oh no, I was gonna say who knows? For all we know, Shane and his representation may have been, they may not have gotten along at all, and Daniel Jones may say to himself, "I want to remain a Giant. I better make this change now." Obviously, the tag deadline. I think the tag actually starts tomorrow, like when they have the option to tag him, and then it expires on March 7th. So there's kind of like a 2-week window now where if you're Daniel Jones, you're starting to feel it because if you don't get a deal done by March 7th. You're going to get tagged, more than likely. I think the Giants would tag him to not allow him to hit the open market because then you worry about a team like Washington or the Jets. Who knows? They may drive up the price to $45 million. The Saints. All it takes is one team. So I think that's ultimately where this is headed if they can't get a deal done before March 7th. And I think Jones, and you could say, Jones could sit on the tag and wait it out and try to get a deal done before, the start of the regular season, which is probably what would happen in that scenario. But Jones is probably also thinking about it from the team's perspective and his potential growth as a quarterback. Like, he wants to get this deal done now so they have the option to keep Saquon Barkley, so they have the option to potentially trade for a wide receiver, sign a wide receiver. If they have to tag Jones going into free agency, that limits them in so many ways. You could structure this deal where it frees up an extra 15, 16, 17 million dollars on the cap if you were able to get a 4 or 5 year extension. So yes, well, there's not a lot of pressure on Jones from the sense that he knows he'll be tagged if something's not done before March 7th. If he wants this team to be able to get the most out of his abilities and he wants to strike it big to get Pat Mahomes level money in the future, he wants this team to be as well equipped as it possibly can be. I think he has to be thinking that way. And if that's the case, he probably wants to get this extension done before free agency kicks in.
Yeah, and he should want it done before free agency kicks in, exactly for the reason you're saying. This is a guy who has flat out been, for lack of a better term, abused by the Giants organization to a certain degree with what they put around him. And the more time and more money they have to build around him, the better it's going to be going forward, because they've shown they want to improve things around him, I think. It's just they haven't had the money to do it this past offseason.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think he knows it's in his best interest. I think they're going to get something done. My only worry is, does it take longer? Does it take till July? Do they have to tag him and then they have ongoing negotiations until July or August before the year starts? I want this done before free agency kicks in. That way, at least you have the option to keep Barkley. If you have to tag Jones, it's going to be very hard to keep Barkley.
Oh, yeah. Somebody's going to overpay him.
Yeah.
I think he wants to be a Giant. I've said that on this podcast countless times. He's been through 3 systems already. In the 4 years he's been there, he's finally got a groove going where he's playing well. He's going to make his money here, at least stay for 2 years, look that much better in the system that made him look that much better within a short period of time. He's going to want to put weapons around him. This way he looks that much better. This way somewhere else will pay him too much money if need be. It just it makes more sense to take a little bit of that hit now.
I agree.
I think Carolina.
Carolina.
Yeah, if he goes out to North Carolina,
you're not going to make the money in Carolina you make as a quarterback. You're the starting quarterback of New York Giants. You make more money in advertising and everything else as the starting quarterback of a New York team than you will anywhere else except for maybe LA. You're not going to make
if you win.
No one goes,
yeah.
If you lose, you're the next Dave Brown. That's all there is to it. But
yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, he goes to Carolina, he goes to some of these other teams that might pay him. They don't have the support that he might need, like a good receiver or a good line, and he has to start all over again of getting beat up somewhere.
He's used to that.
He was the highest pressure quarterback
Feels
this year,
like
wasn't
home.
He?
Yeah. I mean, he's used to that going all the way back to
like
Duke.
We got a couple. Oh yeah, got a couple of comments here. So first up, we have saying, "What is this? LOL," and it's that Bob right there that I got there. So we got Daniel King. It's a little bad dog. No, it's not. It's not bad dog. We got to get him on the show one point though.
I think he was referring to. I think he was referring to when I brought up the Wes Steinberg. He said it's a little bad dog is the guy that controls the account. I think that was the.
Oh.
Yeah, because I saw that pop up when we were talking about Wes Steinberg.
Okay. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it'd be him, but I don't know.
No, it's not.
It could
be.
Not. I'm trying to read your face to find out. Okay. We'll keep on popping up random names till we figure out who it is. It's Daniel Jones, isn't it? Just trying to help us sideline negotiations.
It might be DJ. It might be DJ.
Hilarious. We got Giants Mafia paying Jones $45 million would officially be the end of any quarterback getting extension. Everybody would ask for 60 at least. I don't know about that. Not everyone can ask for money. And I hear your guys' thoughts on this because, let's be honest, I talk way too much as it is. But, I think he's proven to be an average starting quarterback at least in this league. And those guys get paid. They may not get paid the $45-50 million, but they still get paid.
I mean, if anything, it would up the top tier quarterback's value even more. Like Joe Burrow's dying for Daniel Jones to get $45 million when he's got an upcoming extension coming up. He's gonna be like, oh my God, if Daniel Jones got $45 million, I'm getting 60. So if anything, it's only gonna help the other quarterbacks around the league. get more. So every quarterback in the league wants Daniel Jones, wants Geno Smith, wants Derek Carr, wants Jalen Hurts, whoever's like got an upcoming extension pending. They want all these guys to strike it big because it's only going to make it when they come to the negotiating table, they're going to make that much more. So it's actually the opposite. The more Daniel Jones makes, the happier the quarterbacks are going to be around the league. Trust me.
Oh, yeah. And I think Hurts is a big one coming. When the Eagles have to start paying Hurts, they're going to be in trouble. I mean,
Hurts is going to get $55 million a year.
It's a freaking genius, but yeah. I mean, like
Hurts is going to get $55 million a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you're going to get.
He's going to. And they repeats like he did this year, or else they're going to be a really bad contract for him. That's for sure. We got one more comment here. We got Mark Bittner saying Shane likely wants to get it done before the combine if possible. And yeah, I mean, he wants to get it done today. Let's be honest, folks. He doesn't want that sitting around. He wants it done ASAP because the faster they get this contract done, the faster he can get on to the next thing, or the faster he can go ahead and tag Barkley, which, let's be honest, if you're Shane, you want to tag Barkley probably because $10 million is a whole lot better than the $14, $15 million that I think is going to have to probably be to keep him in a long-term deal.
Yeah. So, I was trying to look at when is the combine? I'm trying to get the exact date.
I don't have the exact dates in front of me either, yeah.
I'm trying to get it because I think it's coming up in like a couple of weeks. What day is the NFL combine?
The end of the month.
March 2nd. March 2nd to March 5th. So, yeah, I mean, ideally, yeah, because obviously he's going to be spending. That's a great point. I didn't even think about it because the franchise tag deadline is March 7th. It's either March 7th or March 8th. And like he said, you kind of got to figure he's obviously going to be spending a lot of attention from March 2nd to March 5th scouting these prospects. Like that is like one of the premier times during the draft process where you really get to get a first-hand look at these guys, whether it be with the drills or the interviews or everything else. So you got to think his attention is going to be away from, I mean, obviously he'll still be in contact with him if there's not something resolved by then, but it's going to be away from Daniel Jones for those 4 days, which would only leave him 2 days before he's got to tag him. So that's a good point. Yeah, he probably, ideally, Shane would like to get this done within the next week for sure. It's a good point.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting in that as well is let's say hypothetically, if they can't get something done, does it change now what they do with the combine? Do they start looking at quarterbacks they might not have looked at otherwise just in case he ends up leaving? You know, you look at a guy like maybe Hooker out of Tennessee or somebody like that as a guy to maybe develop for a year behind Taylor. Because don't forget, we got Taylor signed for this year at $6.9 million. They signed him with, hey, if Jones fails, we need this guy just in case. He's not.
Yeah, I think the plan. I think the plan with Taylor before the year started was one, Jones was coming off a pretty significant injury, right, with the spine injury. So they were, and he had history in the past of missing at least 2, 3, 4 games a year. So they said, let's bring in Taylor. He's a guy that at least has a similar skill set to Jones in the sense that he's mobile. Mm-hmm. If Jones gets hurt, he could step in. And if we do end up drafting a quarterback in 2023, which is, I think if I'm being honest with you, I think before the year started, they thought they were going to be drafting a quarterback. I do believe that, especially after talking to Bobby Skinner. He told me before the year started, he thought that's what they thought in the building. That's what they thought was going to happen because they didn't think this team was going to win 9 games. They didn't think they were making the playoffs. So I think they brought in Taylor with the mindset of, if we're moving off of Jones, he's a perfect stopgap, a mentor like he was with Herbert. We'll bring him in for a year, and he'll mentor the young guy. Or he's just a good backup for Daniel Jones. But I think that was the initial plan with Tyrod Taylor and why they gave him a pretty decent amount of money to be a backup quarterback.
Yeah. And I'll just say this. Anybody in the Giants organization listening, if you didn't think you were winning 9 games last season, that means you weren't listening to 2 Giant Goofballs because we had it.
We called it.
We said we were off by half a game.
You guys picked 9 wins.
Yeah.
Here's the crazy thing. We were completely wrong on which ones we'd win and which one we'd lose.
Well, that's the thing.
we were dead on the wins.
I don't know if you guys know. Do you guys know Dan Schneer, and Nick Filato? They do a podcast.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think Dan had him at 9 wins and Nick had him at 8. I had him at 7 wins before the year started. And I asked Dan that question. I'm like, you had him at 9 wins, but did you have them getting 9 wins in this fashion? He's like, absolutely not. I'm like, you probably thought the Seahawks were going to be a pushover. You probably thought the Lions maybe a little bit easier.
Yep.
Then they ended up being, but there's no way you thought we were beating the Ravens. There's no way you thought we were beating the Packers.
Oh,
There's
no.
no way you thought we were beating the Titans opening day. So
100%. We had all those reverse.
Yeah, all those were losses in mine.
So even if you thought 9 wins, you didn't think they'd get the 9 wins in the fashion in which they did.
For the record, we were right in the Titans game, though.
You picked them. Yeah,
no,
man.
We picked the. I'm sorry, the Texans game I meant, not the Titans. The Texans.
Yeah,
yeah,
the Texans.
And the Titans, we both were like, no, there's no way we're the game. Because I actually have a lot of respect for the Titans, and I've said all during this year, I think the Giants are the Titans of the NFC.
I think it's a great
blueprint. Average. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great comparison. I heard
great running defense.
Yeah, I heard. I think it was Chris Long made that comparison, like after week 1, after seeing the Giants for week 1 or week 2, and I was like, yeah, that's a really good comparison. It's Daniel Jones and Tannehill, at least as of now, are similar. You got a run-heavy approach, especially early in the year. We're not quite as talented as they've been in the past because obviously they've had A.J. Brown in the past and, some better weapons than we had. But, yeah, I thought it was a pretty good comparison that the Giants were starting to morph into the Titans of the NFC. I think it's a good comparison.
Yeah. I'll take it as long as they get past where the Titans have stopped.
That would be nice.
Giants. We gotta keep moving on. We're not the Lions. We're not the Browns. We're not happy just winning a playoff game. We got to get to the big game. We got to, unlike the Eagles, win it because that's what the Giants do. One every 10 years. That's what we're supposed to do. One every 10 years. One in the 80s. One in the 90s. One of the zeros. One in the 10s. Is that what we're calling it? The 10s.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah, 10s.
We need our 20s. We need one
for our
20s here.
Closer than we've been.
I think it's. Oh yeah, and I think it's safe to say, like I said, all this stuff here going on with Jones right now. I think my advice I'll give to listening is ignore it right now. Don't worry about it because it's all smoke and mirrors. Who knows from what side? Give it a little bit. Give it a week or two. We'll know much more on the actual truth. And in the end, you know what the beauty is? No matter how many $1 million he gets, it's not my money. It's not my money. And we all know how the NFL goes. Like, money gets moved around. We talked to Bergman, who's, I said, again, I hate to give so much to an eager, but is a cap genius. Now, look at Mickey over down in New Orleans. Cap genius. They have, like, negative $50 million every offseason and somehow sign Pro Bowlers. Like, I don't know how they do it. It's magic. It's just moving around numbers. They just, there's those guys. Like, I need these people to do my taxes. Seriously. These guys got to do my taxes.
I'm going to prepare you right now. There's going to be, if he's either going to be tagged, he's going to be a Giant. Let's just call it out as he's going to be a Giant. And there's if they sign him to a multi-year deal, the general public is going to, no matter what, they're going to see the number and they're going to go bananas. But what you need to look at is the guaranteed money. Even if it's 5 years, $200 million, $40 million a year, but it's only $80 million guaranteed, that means you could rip that contract up after 2 years. So to me, it's less about the average per year salary, and it's a lot more about the guarantee. Because for me as a Giants fan, I do believe in Daniel Jones, at least for the next couple of years. I'm not sold yet that he's a franchise quarterback. When I say that, I mean a Pat Mahomes, I mean a Josh Allen, a Joe Burrow. I mean a guy that, like, no doubt, I'm going to war with this guy for the next 15 years. I'm not there yet with Daniel Jones, but I'm at least to the point with Daniel Jones where I'm like, I'm only giving 2 more years to find out. Like, he did enough for me last year. Well, I'm willing to give him 2 more years to find out. So as a Giants fan, I want him to get 2 more years with Dable. I want them to improve the team around him and to see what he can become. But I don't want the commitment to be for more than 2-3 years tops. I want Shane to have that wiggle room if Jones does not become a franchise quarterback to be able to get out of that contract within 2 or 3 years. And I think that's what's ultimately going to happen.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I said that all along that I want that for both Jones and for Saquon. I want to be able to hit the reset in 2 years if either one of them fails, or if either one of them gets hurt or something like that, because they're both guys with injury histories. They're both guys with things to prove still at that point. So we got one more comment here that I got to read because it was my dad.
Nice.
The man raised me. I have to give the guy the credit at that point.
Is that you? No, that's not you. No,
that's not me. No, that's
it could be.
That's my little sister, actually.
Oh, okay. She's cute.
So, Dable will make DJ look good at QB and grow his future value. Washington has a revolving door at QB. The Jets have proven they can't develop a QB, and Carolina is a big unknown. And that's the big thing I think people are forgetting in this whole thing is if I am Jones and I'm looking at where can I be successful, not just for the next year or two, but long term, it's New York. Because it's a franchise that has proven it can win. It's a franchise that have made stars out of. Look at the post careers of Sims and Eli. Why would you not want to play for us? Because
and not Tiki Barber.
I mean, Joe Namath freaking peddling AARP life insurance policies at 80 years old because he won one Super Bowl in New York. I mean, like seriously, like this is the place to win. And this is the place that you will make money for life if you're just a halfway decent quarterback.
And not to mention, it's like it would be really the first time that he's gotten an opportunity to play in a modern day NFL offense for a second year. Like he has an opportunity to come back with a good play. Like it is not even debatable. This is the best option for Daniel Jones in terms of hopefully developing into a franchise quarterback. If he goes to Washington, I mean, come on. Now, Washington does have good weapons, and maybe Eric Bieniemy ends up being a good offensive, and maybe Bieniemy ends up being a great offensive play caller if he ends up going there. But if I'm Jones, I want familiarity. I want to come back. But at the same time, I'm going to think about it from Daniel Jones's perspective as well. And I think a lot of fans, when they think about contract negotiations, they think strictly from their perspective. And the fans' perspective, if we're being honest, is basically the GM's perspective. Because as fans, we want Daniel Jones to sign as cheap as possible. If it was up, if I had a magic genie and I could come up with 3 wishes, it would be that Daniel Jones would sign for $10, Saquon Barkley would sign for $20, get these guys back as cheaply as possible. But I think a lot of people don't think about it from Daniel Jones's perspective, and they say, "Oh, well, Daniel Jones should come back and he should be team friendly." And first off, no. If I'm Daniel Jones, why in the world would I be team friendly? I've been a piñata for the state of New York. I've been a walking, talking meme. This franchise has given me 0. I've had the worst offensive line collectively over my 4-year span since I've been a New York Giant. I've had probably the worst wide receiving core over the 4 years since I've been a New York Giant. They've provided me with 3 head coaches. They've provided me with 4 different offensive play callers and 2 different general managers. I'm going to say to myself, if I'm Daniel Jones, what favors am I going to do this organization? Absolutely not. The pressures that come with playing for this city, and as tarnished as I've been since I've been here, I'm going to get what I'm worth. And I don't blame Daniel Jones for that. If I was Daniel Jones, I'd be trying to get every penny I could. Right now, he's in a situation where he has value, and he needs to try to maximize on that. So I want him to come back for $25 million a year, but my brain tells me it's going to be at least 35. And if I'm Jones, I'm shooting for 45. I don't blame him for it.
You know, and I do want to get still into what we originally were to talk about here real quick at the position reviews before all this news came out today. But I got to ask your thought on this here. And I want to hear both of you guys' thoughts on this, really, because this is a fan thing that I keep on seeing. The fans always, I feel like, take the owner's side. And we're talking about a guy wanting to make $45 million, but we're forgetting this is a franchise that got, ironically enough, evaluated, I think today I saw the news, went up to $6 billion, the evaluation on the New York Giants. Wow. And yet where we're at, the guy wants to make $45 million. That's literally putting his body, his life on the line. But he's the bad guy. The guy making $6 billion in the suit that we never see except for twice a year. He's the good guy?
I get it, though, because I don't think, well, I can't say everybody, but I don't think most people that are being judgmental of the reported asking price, because that's all it is right now. It's reported. Yeah. We don't know that. I don't think they're mad at Jones per se. I think they're like, well, they fear for how they're going to be able to build this team if they sign him to a contract like that. So I don't want to say that like the fans hate Daniel Jones. They just hate the idea. They hate the idea of having to commit, you know, over 20% on a per year average to their salary cap to have to retain him as the quarterback. So I get it.
Listen, as long as my wallet stays in my pocket, he can make as much money as he wants. I don't care.
Yeah, right. He's paying for $200 million a year.
As long as we're not doing a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe, we're good.
Like you said, though, man, it's like I think a lot of fans just see the per year average and they're like, oh, well, how are you going to build a team that way?
Yeah.
Good general managers find ways to maneuver money with the cap, and they will be able to build this team if they sign Daniel Jones to a contract. I have no doubt in my mind. I see teams do it every year. So there's ways to do it. We had a general manager that was in the Stone Age with Dave Gettleman.
Oh yeah, I think the Stone Age is being kind. But for those who haven't looked at necessarily at who we can cut, also to save some money, we did do an episode of that. I think was the last week, Rob. We did that talking about guys like Darnay Holmes that we can make like $2.5 million by cutting. There's different players.
Yeah,
we can still make money. We can still make more money. So it's not like this is all we have, guys. First off, we all know Kenny Golladay is getting dropped the second he can be, basically. And like it's gonna be like a parade down, like it's gonna be like a ticker tape parade like we win the Super Bowl when that man gets cut. And we'll have like a video montage of his one touchdown in 2 years, the last meaningless game. Oh my God, horrendous thing. So, but let's get into the actual quarter.
He's already on the plank, just waiting to get pushed.
As Ken Cristiano here chimes in with a comment and says it's the best system for him. It's all about that. And I gotta say, Dable, I give him all the credit in the world, and also Mike Kafka as well, because I think people forget his influence in this whole thing. He is still the offensive coordinator. Those guys went ahead and catered this system to what works well for Jones. And as much as I give them kudos for it, I give kudos also to Jones for what he did, because I think he had, again, a good year, not a great year. He didn't put up the passing numbers you really want a quarterback to put up. I mean, sounds crazy. A quarterback didn't put up passing numbers, but we're like, yeah, he did good. Look who had to throw to. Look, he had a block for him. But eventually, his excuses run now.
Yeah.
And I'm at the point now where I like the short-term for him because of that. I'm happy what he did this year, but I got to see a build. It can't be like, okay, this is now the ceiling. Because if this is the ceiling, that's a very low ceiling. And I'm 6'7", I'm being a low ceiling, okay? I got a bad back, I got ankle issues and all. Like, this is going to send me right to the chiropractor if that's where we're at.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that's why you keep the commitment short. Whether it's a 4 or 5 year deal, it's a deal I want to be able to get out of after 2 years, because this year we definitely saw growth. And I think his numbers have as much to me personally. Maybe you disagree. I think his numbers have as much to do with the supporting cast as it does Daniel Jones himself. I think the Giants identified their wide receiving core, their offensive line, and said, well, the way we're going to be able to win games, we're going to have to try to manage the game, chew up the clock. We can't get into shootouts. We don't have anybody to throw to. We got a quarterback and a new offense. So for me, I saw growth from Jones last year. I saw a quarterback that was good in big moments, fourth quarter situations, 2-minute drill situations, picked up several key third downs over the course of the year. When you go back and think about the season, he definitely improved his decision-making. He was much better in the red zone. His pocket awareness got much better. There were things that he definitely got better with. And a lot of that probably goes to Dable and obviously Kafka. And listen, to me, that's not people like make that like a deterrent towards Daniel Jones. No, it just means you got a good coach. Almost every good quarterback in the NFL has good coaching. He finally got it. So thank God. And hopefully now we can start to get the most out of this guy. But I agree. I think it's why you keep the commitment short. If Jones is still on this level from a statistical standpoint, in 2 more years, you're moving off of him. Eventually, once hopefully we get him the necessary pieces, he has to graduate to that upper echelon quarterback, which can put the team on his back. And he certainly did that at moments this year, but he's got to grow from this. I think most people would agree with that.
Yeah, and just kind of going piggyback on what you're saying too. Like, he's had no receiving core. So if you put a good, he doesn't have to have number one, like a number two, like 2 number twos, and just let him build off that. And you see how his passing yards work from there and his turnovers. And if they stay, the right numbers go up, the turnovers go down, which he was 3 this year. It's fantastic.
I don't think the turnovers
not
more than they did. Turnovers were
I was about to say.
If they
was it 12
if they go down
all
anymore, that means we stop passing entirely. We're just a pure running team.
Yeah.
The passing is not an option. Don't do it. We can't risk the interception, guys.
But
Wandell is not allowed.
Yeah. But if Wandell comes back and he's healthy and he's able to run and he can have a big year, if we pick someone up a free agent, which there's not many people we can, we already went through that. If we draft another strong, receiver, and then you can see what he has with talent, and if he looks the same as he did this year, well, guess what? That's when you want that smaller contract to get rid of him, because if he's not going to, progress with more talent, then what's the point of having him?
Yeah, eventually.
I think what scares me most with.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go. You go ahead.
You go. No, you're the
Rock, paper, scissors.
I was just
raised right. My father's
And by the
watching.
way, I
My
don't mean
father's
to-
watching. I have to.
I don't mean to like cut you guys off. I just feel like there's a little bit of delay on my
No, go
end.
for
So
it,
sometimes I'm talking over you guys, but I'm not. I don't mean to.
Oh,
Just
no,
because
you're
it's a
good, man.
little bit of a delay. But what I was gonna say is now I forgot what I was gonna say.
Look what you did,
We were
Drew.
talking about wide receivers
Damn
of
it.
Daniel Jones. I don't want to rule out the possibility of the Giants potentially trying to trade for a wide receiver too. I still think that's a potential option for sure. It's just a matter of who's gonna be available. But I actually think there's a decent chance that's going to happen this offseason. I think the Giants are going to explore a potential trade scenario to bring in an established wide receiver. I actually heard Victor Cruz talking about it today with DeAndre Hopkins, which I don't want because reportedly he's going to want a contract extension, which I don't want to give him. But I do think the Giants are going to explore the trade market for a wide receiver.
Yeah, and I'm with you 100%. If I can get D-Hop without doing the extension, I'm game 100%.
It's got to be
there
without the
because
extension. I agree, though. If it's without the extension, I'm in.
Because he's got 2 more years to go, I think, if I remember correctly, and he's what, 30, 31?
I think I think he's 31.
Yeah, and if I understand correctly, and I admit freely, I don't follow the Cardinals as well as I follow the Giants for obvious reasons here, but I think this is now the money the Cardinals gave him, and my understanding was they kind of piggybacked off the Texans deal, so this one he's going to get paid. So you can do it as a Giant because you don't get the cap hit from the signing bonus that the Cardinals already took at that point, where it's manageable. But if you got to give them a brand new deal with some of these guys where they're getting paid last offseason $25 million, yeah, I'm not paying $25 million to a guy who's 30, 31 as a wide receiver that's coming off of a season where he had PED suspension or whatever. I'm good. I'm not going.
I'm looking at the cap hit right now. I'm pretty sure what we would be responsible for, because his cap number for next year is almost 31 million, and the year after is 26. But we wouldn't be responsible for that in a trade. We'd be responsible.
Exactly.
I think it's just the base salary, which would be 19.4 this year and 14.9 the following year. So that's feasible in today's market. I mean, you saw Christian Kirk get $20 million a year last year. So
oh my God,
I'm okay with that.
It's like, oof.
Yeah, but I'm not giving this guy like a 4-year extension at his age with his injury. I'm not doing that. But if it's reasonable, I'd be interested.
See, and I told you guys that my dad might be listening, because here he is again. How much better would DJ be if the Giants had the cap room to trade for T. Higgins? And I love Higgins as a player. I think he's going to want way too much money than what I want to spend for him.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to trade for T. Higgins. I think he's definitely a top 15, 20 wide receiver in the NFL. And whoever we trade, if we do trade for a wide receiver, you're going to have to end up paying him. Like that shit, like people talk about Brandon Ayuk. You're going to have to pay that guy. So that comes with the territory. And I think that's even more of a reason if they want to do something like that, to sign Jones to a 3 or 4 or 5 year multi-extension so you could space out the money. And you also got to think about other guys that we got to extend. Dexter Lawrence, Andrew Thomas. Like, there's a lot of pending free agents that the Giants are going to have to bring back, and they're going to have to. And I'm sure Shane has a plan. I think he's going to get the job done. But yeah, we're going to have to give up a ton of money to one of these wide receivers if we trade for him. Wide receivers now make almost as much as quarterbacks. It's crazy. They're making insane salaries right now. You look at what
really
the guy in the
crazy.
Raiders. What's his name? Devontae Adams. He's making like $35 million a year, something crazy like that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, for a guy who touches the ball like 7
Raiders
times a
just
game.
like throwing money at their players and coaches, and
Well, they're pirates.
Yeah.
They have plenty of money. They just steal from other people. So
all that booty.
No, all that booty is Tom Brady now that he's single.
I mean,
So
he had
we got a
booty.
couple.
Now,
He's getting all kinds of new ones. Trust me. I'm down here in the Tampa Bay area. I can assure you. Trust me. The word is out. He's getting it all. Don't you worry. He's out in Ybor and all
sure
this
he
stuff
is.
at that point, getting all he wants to get. Okay. He's like, I'm Tom Brady. That's his pickup line. That's all he needs.
That's it.
just that
Just
smile
show those rings.
with his wheatgrass.
Yeah. He just goes right after the women like, you want You want to hear why they call me the GOAT? So we got a couple of comments here, but I'm gonna wait on this for a second for you guys. Except for Ken Cristiano here with your first comment. We're not doing I'm not putting the Let's Go Bears up on the screen. We did it for you last time, Ken. Not doing it again. I can't root against you guys. I don't hate the Bears, but this is a Giants podcast. We can't let go Bears. Can't be done. Nope.
Bears.
The Bears. It's sad when a franchise has been around as long as the Bears, and the best thing they're known for is the Bears from the SNL. It's not even something the Bears themselves are known for. It's the SNL from like 30 years ago.
Yeah. Is it a big dicka or a little dicka?
You want to hear something crazy about the Bears? And I'm not trying to poke fun at Ken at all. They've been around since the inception, I think, right? Like they're one of the original. I think it's them and the Cardinals are like the original.
Oh, geez.
The Bears have never, when you think about this, it's true. They have never, at least in the Super Bowl era, I can't speak before then. I don't know their history before 1967. Maybe you want to say Jim McMahon, but I don't even know if he was a franchise quarterback. The Bears have never truly had a franchise quarterback. Never. And you can say that for a lot of teams. You can say that for a lot of teams, but for as long as they've been around, for them not to have like a 15-year answer at the position is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad that the last, since McMahon left, probably the best quarterback they had was Jay Cutler.
Yeah, and that was for 5 years.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah. The guy, and he's basically like Kirk Cousins of back then.
I'm looking now, McMahon only played there for 7 years, and half of it he only played like 6 games a season because of injuries. So,
but he did the Super Bowl shuffle. That's what matters. He did the Super Bowl shuffle,
and he was part of the '85 Bears.
So, real quick though, I don't want to hold you too long. I'm sure you got better things to do than talk to us goofballs all night long here. So, let's go over the other backups here as well. So, Tyrod Taylor, I think we just got to give him kind of an incomplete for this thing. Really didn't see him. I do think though he's a good guy to have around with a young quarterback. He's been around the league in a while. He's 32, 33, something like that. The guy's played at 5-6 different teams. He's a perennial backup to a rookie quarterback for some reason. That's been his role the last 5 years until we got him. So I like having him around. I think he's a capable backup if Jones ever gets hurt. Because one thing I haven't heard talked about the Jones contract conversation is, guys, this is the first year he was healthy the whole year. The first year.
That's true. That's true.
We can't depend on that to happen. What is it we say? Those who don't learn from history are
doomed to repeat it. Or lose Super Bowls. So, either or.
So we can't sit there and say, we can't sit there and say Jones is going to be healthy for the next 3 years because he hasn't proven he can do that but this 1 year. So I like having Taylor around for one more year, that's for sure. What do you guys think there?
Yeah, as long as he doesn't come into play. Oh, no.
Yeah, exactly.
I should have given a name, sorry. That's on me. Whoever gets there first, it's a race to the talking line.
No, go ahead, Rob. Go ahead. Go ahead, Rob. He's breaking up.
Did you hit the mute button, Rob?
I was just going to make a smart-ass remark. I'm just going to say, as long as, bring Taylor come in and get him concussed.
Oh, we're losing you, Rob. Either that or you're doing your own version of Mr. Roboto.
No, I didn't.
Didn't hit you. Mr. Roboto.
Didn't hit me.
Listen, we always say one musical number per episode. Songs, this is what it is.
Yeah, Taylor playing healthy when he comes in. And he doesn't get concussed like he did that one game.
Well, he took a hit he shouldn't have taken. I'm assuming you're talking about the Chicago game. He took that hit. He shouldn't have taken the hit.
Goes out.
Yeah.
He should have gone out of bounds, and this is part of why he's a backup. He doesn't make the smart decisions always. He's had interception problems as well. Not that Jones hasn't too, but he's a good backup, I think, overall. And like I said, I think he's a good mentor to have for a young guy like Jones who's still on that cusp of still being considered young. He's not old like me. He's kind of like that, still young,
he's
but
25.
not like
he's still a baby
in the league. Yeah, well, see, here's the thing: in baby and people years, not in football years.
For a quarterback, he's still kind of a baby.
So-
Quarterbacks last till 90 now. But
I know. Look
well-
at Tom Brady there and Ebor shaking it up.
Yeah. But
Entertainah, I guess you could go since I'm breaking up.
no. As far as Tyrod Taylor goes, listen, I never want to see him on the football field. He's a backup, right? He's a You never want to see your backup. That's worst case scenario. But he's definitely a very capable. For a backup, he's an above average backup. But he's not a starter. And, I found that funny before the year started. Like, people actually thought that Tyrod Taylor had a chance to beat Daniel Jones out in training camp. Like, no, that's ridiculous. No, he's not a starter.
You guys.
But he's a guy. Let's put it this way. He's a major step up from Jake Fromm and Mike Glennon. Like, if he is forced to come in due to injury, he's not going to embarrass you. He's not going to win you a game, but he's not going to embarrass you. He's a solid backup. I'm happy he's a Giant. Yeah, and like you said, I do think he brings some value in terms of being a mentor for Daniel Jones, right? Being that they have a similar skill set, he's been in the league for a long time. He's well respected, so he brings value. But I never want to see him playing for the New York Giants because that's your worst nightmare. You never want to see the backup quarterback.
You just mentioned Jake Fromm.
Who?
I think he's now Jake from State Farm.
Jake Fromm?
Jake from State Farm, I think. He's wearing
I
khakis and a
remember
red
last
polo.
year. I think Rob said you guys just started doing content in August. I remember last year, the season before this past year, and I tried to warn my subscribers. I said, this guy, Jake Fromm, is trash. I remember I had Giants fans trying to convince me that he had potential. I was like, I remember watching him at Georgia. I watched him on his tape. I'm like, this guy can't throw. This guy's got no arm. So, Tyrod Taylor's a major step up from him. He doesn't even belong in the XFL.
Yeah, we got one last quarterback here, and then we'll get to the comments before we get going. But Entertainah, if you got to get going, because we've been on here a while, I don't want to hold you up all night.
No, man, I'm good.
You got to go, man.
No, I'm good.
So we got Davis Webb, of course, the potential new coach on the team as well, because I do think he's going to step down. That he's had the one start and the one touchdown. I think he's going to ride off into the sunset here. And this is a guy that could have been a QB coach last year for the Buffalo Bills if he had chose it. He was offered the position from all accounts. He wanted to play. He gets that one football now to put on the mantle. Unless Kenny Galladay stole it as his one quarterback, it's one touchdown he got it to the New York Giants. They're both back afterwards. The ball. Dable's like, who gets the game ball? They're both like, me. But it's a situation where when he got drafted, I don't know how many people remember this because I know it's a couple of years ago now, and obviously we were the ones who drafted him originally. This was the guy that was like the gym rat, the film rat, like everything you heard of this guy. He was in there, like basically fighting for most hours watching film and working out with Eli. That man was like fighting and battling with him for basically who can spend the most hours preparing. This is a guy that I think is going to be a great coach down the line, and I'm really excited to see what he can do. This is a guy that he has all the makings of a head coach even eventually, I think. And I hate to say that about a guy who's never coached, but here's why I say that. The best coaches are guys who are fringe NFL players. It's always just been that way.
Mike Kafka,
the guys
right?
who are great. Well, look at like Bill Parcells, the guy literally, and people don't always know this. The guy went and played in the training camp for the Detroit Lions and left after one day. One day.
I did not know that.
All he lasted as an NFL player. And that's one more day than me. So I give him credit. I'm not trying to take it away from the tuna. But, that's all he did. Look at a guy like Bill Cowher, who was a bit player as an NFL. The stars don't make it because the stars don't get why people don't get what's so easy for them. This is why Michael Jordan has not been the best, owner in basketball. This is why Wayne Gretzky was a horrible coach in hockey. When you're great, it comes easy to you to be at least above average. You may be like nonstop to be great like you became, but to be above average comes natural.
Well,
So
it
they
makes
don't get
sense.
it when people don't have that happen.
Yeah, it makes sense
So-
because you know what it's like to have to be able to get the most out of your ability. So it makes sense.
Exactly.
Generally speaking, like you said, the best players usually don't make the best coaches. So yeah, that makes a ton of sense. But I didn't.
Yeah.
You gave me some knowledge. I did not know that about
Ooh.
Bill Parcells. I was gonna bring up
Yourself in the
Jason
back
Garrett
real quick here.
because Jason Garrett was a backup quarterback, but I'm like, he was a horrible head coach. But at least for the Giants,
Listen,
he was a
you
horrible
brought
offensive
up David Gettleman. You brought up Jake Fromm. You brought up, now Jared.
We're going
Is there
down memory
anything else
lane,
you
man.
wanted to bring up? Why don't we
You
bring
want
up
me to
the
bring up Pat
2001
Shurmur?
Super Bowl? Why don't we bring up the 2001 Super Bowl while we're at it? Okay, what are you doing to me here? Come on.
I'm not gonna ask you for your guys' ages, but I'll
you're
just
good.
tell
I'm
you.
40.
Okay, I'm 37. I've been watching the Giants religiously. I was born in 85, so everybody always says, "Oh, I've been a Giants fan since 85." No, I was not a Giants fan coming out of the womb. I started watching the Giants religiously around 96, 97. And I watched football around 92, 93, but I didn't really get fall in love with a singular team until around 96, 97. My most heartbreaking moment, I always used to say, was the Eagles game with Deshaun Jackson with the punt return, with Dodge. And then I always used to say the 49ers game in 2002 when we gave up the big lead with the TO. Yeah. But I think my worst individual moment as a New York Giants fan from a singular play was that Ravens Super Bowl was when we gave up the kickoff return. We have the kickoff return coming out of halftime and in a Super Bowl, and you're like, okay, we're back in it. I think that made the score like 17-7. And in the back of your head, you're like, all right, we don't really have a chance, but at least now we have a puncher's chance. Maybe a ball goes our way and we got a shot. And then the very next play, we kick it off and the Ravens return it back for a touchdown. I've never seen anything like that. That is my most deflating moment I've ever as a Giants fan.
Yeah, no, that's a Super Bowl that I think we all remember but don't want to remember. And the biggest problem was when that happened, I was 19 years old and I wasn't able to get refills when I started sobering up. So that's the problem I ran into at that point. So it was kind of like,
that was a tough one.
I need more alcohol, people. I'm only 19. Who's going to help me out? Not that we condone underage drinking on the program. We definitely do not. Children, wait till you're 21. So let's get some of these comments here before we get going here. So we got Mark Bittner here. Having experienced DJ for 4 years, I'd like to say he's realistic enough that he wouldn't ask for 45. The number will revolve around the tag, comparisons, cousins, etc., and his future projection. He also says, here, let's get both in one here. Should we let Barkley go? A wide receiver trade would be considerably more likely, in my opinion. Ayuk would be my favorite. And we talked about this before as far as the 45. Again, that's a number that no Giant has given. Nobody from Jones's camp has given. So again, I'm just going to caution people. Don't sit there and think that's the realistic number he's saying. Because this is one report. And again, I still think my theory is what's going on with no proof. But I think Athletes First is letting this release. It's too coincidental that he gets a new agent. And that's immediately when that happens, is all of a sudden this leaks out. That to me smells setup. So I think that's what's going on, personally.
Yeah, or I think your buddy dropped out. But
we lost Rob there. He's coming back.
Yeah, or it's also possible that they released that information after he made the agency change. And that's the reason why he made the agency change, because they were coming in way too hot. And Jones said, this is never going to get done if they're forcing me to come with this demand. And I want to kind of meet them more in the middle. We're going to get our that's the beauty about all this. We're going to get our answer within 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Because by the ESPN 30 for 30 by the time this is over, probably.
Because I guarantee it. You mark this down right now, Drew. I guarantee it. If Daniel Jones is not signed by March 7th, he's going to be franchise tag. The deadline for the franchise tag, because they're not going to allow teams to drive his price up to $45 million. Nope. It's not happening.
And here's the beauty of it. Even if they do want to pay him this, we get 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, exactly. We're tagging him if
2 first-round picks and have Taylor start for the year if I have to at $6.9 million, have $40 million extra to play with, and get 2 extra first-round picks.
It's not going to happen. A team's not going to claim him. We're not going to get 2 first-round picks, but if they do, well, yeah, okay. Yeah. I'll take the 2 first-round picks.
There's worse scenarios here. So he said as far as Barkley, what to do with him, and as far as wide receivers, I think with Barkley, it's all going to depend on how much he wants and what happens with Jones. Because if we can tag him, we'll obviously go ahead and tag him. And then if we can't, Or obviously we're going to have to see if we can meet him somewhere where he wants to be money-wise, which, he says he doesn't want to reset the market, but again, the rumors were 16 million, and he wasn't resetting the market at that number. He's just topping where the current market is, basically, and matching, Christian McCaffrey, which that worked out well for the Panthers, just saying.
Okay. Well, that's the other thing that I think a lot of people don't take into account with the Saquon Barkley situation. We could do the same exact thing. Like if the Giants, let's just play the hypothetical game. Let's say we're able to get a deal done with Jones, $36 million a year, 4 years, $80 million guaranteed, blah, 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 blah. Then they go to Barkley. They get a deal done for 4 years, $13 million a year. I think that's realistic. I think like if they're going to get a multi-year deal done, 4 years, $52 million. That's $13 million a year. And say you got like a 2-year out, something like that, like half of it's guaranteed. Midway through next season, things don't go the Giants' way, but Saquon Barkley's playing really well. We're 2-6. We're in sell mode. You could pivot off of Saquon Barkley. So if you're Joe Shane, I don't think in an ideal, and I think that's why they're trying to sign him. I don't think you just want to let an asset like that go for a third-round comp pick. I think he looks at what the Panthers did with CMC, and he says to himself, I could keep him. I could keep him for the here and now. If the team has a really good year next year, great. We bring him back. We bring Jones back. Kumbaya. We keep building. If this thing doesn't go as according to plan, he's still a valuable asset. He's still a guy I could flip and get something for, more than a 100th overall pick. And I think people don't take that into account when they talk about signing Saquon Barkley. Just because you sign Saquon Barkley doesn't mean you're committed to the full extent of that contract. And don't think teams that are Super Bowl ready teams, if they're in a position like the 49ers were last year, aren't going to be willing to take a swing with a guy like Saquon Barkley to put them over the top. They would.
And here's the other thing with that as well. We talked about this with Hopkins a minute ago. When you're the guy who signs him originally, you take the hit for the signing bonus. So he's not as much money to somebody who trades for him. So there is increased value because of that as well. Because the contract that you're going to pay him, you're still paying a third of what he would have gotten that year, as opposed to them paying 2/3.
That's what we did with Beckham.
So, it's definitely movable. And as far as wide receiver trade, I don't see that happening personally. I think in free agency, they might go after Jacoby Myers, I think, out of New England.
I think that's a good fit.
Get tagged. Yeah, I think that's the fit there. I like him a lot. He's improved every year. He put up, almost 1,000 yards with Joe Judge and Matt Patricia as the offensive coordinators. Like, if that's not a walking on water kind of moment, I don't know what is. That's like the equivalent of like Baker Mayfield when he took the Browns into the Super Bowl and won a game. That's like, that doesn't happen. Like that kind of chaos right there, man. So like I said, that's who I would take personally, but I don't think that's going to happen either. I think it's going to be they're going to go after somebody the first or going to run to supplement what they have. I think they're going to count on Wandale coming back healthy. They're going to on coming back. So I do think he'll come back one more year, and pray to God that the guy stays healthy this year. Finally, for once in his life, he deserves at least one more healthy season after everything this man has been through. I think they count on it's getting better that we had this year as well because they're in lesser roles, and I do think we'll get a guy actually at the tight end position, like Mike Gesicki is a guy that I'm big on. In fact, I just tweeted at him today when he tweeted a montage video. I said, "Come on home, man." That guy grew up a Giant fan. I don't know if you're
I was going to say he's from Jersey.
He was talking about the memories of He talked about his memories of watching Eli win rings and stuff like that. Come on home.
The issue I see,
the bigger option.
The issue I see with and I like Jacoby Myers, but the issue I see with the free agent path with wide receiver, and I do think we're going to sign a wide receiver. We have to. I mean, we have a completely empty cupboard. I mean, right now the only wide receivers that we're definitely bringing back are Wan'Dale Robinson and Hodgins. Outside of that, there's no guarantees. Like Slayton's a free agent. We're obviously going to cut Galladay. Who knows with Richie James? Like all those guys. Who knows, right? So there's only like 2 definitive wide receivers we're bringing back. So we're going to have to sign somebody. We're going to have to fill out this roster. But I don't think the Giants are going to be shopping at the top of the market. And I think they'd be foolish to, because when you look at the wide receiver market, especially in this free agency period, I mean, you're going to end up overpaying for Jacoby Myers. You're going to end up overpaying for Juju Smith-Schuster. You're going to end up overpaying for McCole Hardman. I think the Giants are going to kind of wait for that second-tier wide receiver group and look for a $5 to $7 million option that fits their offense. That's what I think they do. And then I think they attack. I will not rule out the possibility of trading for an established wide receiver, but the right deal has to be there. There's several potential options. I mean, we mentioned Ayuk. We mentioned who else do we mention? Who's the other popular name? Well, I mean, you got older options too. I think the Bucks are going to be looking to sell Evans. Maybe they sell Godwin. And there's a ton of potential trade options. Judy potentially with the Broncos. So we'll see who becomes available, but I'm sure they'll at least monitor it. But if they can't make a trade, obviously I think they're going to draft a receiver, whether it be in the first or second round. It's obviously a position we need to attack, but I also don't want to get away from the line of scrimmage because I don't know about you guys. I watch the Eagles games. I watch the Cowboys games. We didn't lose those games because we don't have a wide receiver. We lost those games because we couldn't block. And we lost those games because we couldn't get after their quarterback. And we have to be focused with the division because that's 4 of our 17 games every year with the Cowboys and the Eagles. And we cannot continue to get bullied in the trenches. So Giants need a major, major upgrade on both sides of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you look at all the losses we had this year, half of them were to the Cowboys or Eagles.
Yeah, well, we
insanity.
We won a half a game in our division this year.
Listen, we won 1.5. We won 1.5.
Sorry.
Damn it. Don't you belittle our achievements, okay? Everybody gets a trophy, damn it.
and all those games were the same story with the Cowboys and Eagles. It was just watching us just get demolished up at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball.
Dominance at the line. Dominance at the line. So we got Ken Cristiano coming back in with not a bear, but kind of a bear comment here. Said, should have went after Claypool. Listen, you guys can have Claypool. I want nothing to do with Claypool. That guy is a headache. He thinks he's much better than he is. He's Antonio Brown without the talent. Sorry.
I'm going to pull up his stats real quick. And I'm not a huge stat guy. I don't go, a lot of people.
Yeah.
But Chase Claypool with the Chicago Bears in 7 games had 14 receptions for 140 yards and no touchdowns. They gave up the 32nd overall pick for that. We picked up Isaiah Hodgins, and in 7 games, the guy had like 400 yards and like 4 touchdowns. We picked him up for nothing. Trading for Chase Claypool would have been a disaster.
Yes. So we got another suggestion. This is one you just mentioned a minute ago here from Mark Whitner again here. We have one of the Bucks receivers could be in play with their cap situation. How would you like them? Injuries with Godwin and age with Evans would concern me. And I can say this, living in the Tampa Bay area here, and I actually do work with some guys as well, doing other shows that also talk about the Bucks as well. The big thing with me is they got to figure out their quarterback situation first before they make any moves, make that determination based on, because they're not going to get rid of guys if they get a guy like a Derek Carr and they think they can reload and try to get another playoff run with the team they have. So I don't see that happening personally. I think they're going to try to keep them both. And I'll say, if you think you're going to get one of the two, Godwin, I think, is the more likely to go of the two, because Mike Evans holds a special place in Buck fans' heart, and they want this guy to play his whole career with them.
Because if I'm the Bucks, I'm unloading. I'm getting what I can for these guys now, and I'm starting my rebuild. Maybe, and I would sooner trade Evans because he's like 31. I prefer Godwin. I think Godwin's a better fit for our offensive scheme as well. So I brought those two guys up because I think they're very realistic. Because I would just assume the Bucks would be one in the sell, but I'm not a Bucks fan. But just knowing the state of their franchise right now. Too.
Look at the Bucks and what they've been for how many years.
That's true.
If you go back to a rebuild, you've lost that whole fan base forever. Basically, that everything you built up over the Tom Brady years is gone instantaneously.
So what are they? What's the plan in Tampa right now? Are they looking to bring in a veteran quarterback?
I haven't heard anything of any official meetings yet, but I know everything I've read is that the fans at least want them to look at looking at Carr, but. It's all a matter of it's like any relationship. Both parties have to be interested. Okay, you can't just swipe right. What's going to happen or whatever swiping they do. I don't know. I'm old, but it's like both sides have to want to come to the table there. Okay, so it's if Carr wants to play there, I think it's probably his second best option he has besides the Jets, because I still think he should go to the Jets in a heartbeat if they really do want him. That team is stacked and ready to go.
I think the Jets are a great fit for him. I think the Jets would be a great fit for him. Yeah.
the Bucs are not a bad backup. They got receivers. They got a defense. They have an offensive line they need to rebuild somewhat there. But, that's not a bad situation if you're a quarterback like him, I think.
I'm going to give you another, and this is a potential dilemma that I've brought up several times when I get into this Daniel Jones discussion. And I think, just me personally, I think it's like I don't think a lot of fans take this into account because they're not thinking about it from Joe Schoen's perspective. One common thing I've heard a lot of Giants fans say that aren't in favor of potentially trading up to get a quarterback this year, but don't want to give Jones $38 million a year, will say, we'll just start Tyrod Taylor, punt the season. Essentially, they may not say I want to tank, but that's basically what you want to do. Let's say Joe Schoen did that. Let's say they signed Mariota or Brissett, and you punt the season. You win 6 games. You don't draft the quarterback. And Daniel Jones signs with the Jets. If Daniel Jones goes to the Jets or Washington and he wins 11 or 12 games, Joe Schoen's on the hot seat entering year 3. And I think a lot of fans don't take that into account. Like, what could be the negative effect potentially of Joe Schoen just letting Daniel Jones walk? And it's even more of a reason why I don't think he's gonna. He's gonna do whatever he can to make. And we heard it in the press conference, by the way. We heard verbatim, and it was not an accident, in my opinion. Some people wrote it off as an accident, like he misspoke. No, he said it twice in a row. Joe Schoen said in the press conference, Daniel Jones is coming back. And to me, that was a warning to Daniel Jones's agent. He said, no matter what you do, no matter what contract demands you guys have, I got the franchise tag, baby. He's going to be a Giant. Yeah. You're either going to meet us in the middle or he's going to have to play on that 1-year option. When I heard that out of Joe Schoen's mouth, that's how I interpreted it.
That's pretty much what we said as well.
Oh, yeah. So we got Ken Cristiano.
Oh, is that the...
that I wasn't ahead of post about the Let's Go Bears. I'm not going to do it. Sorry, Ken. We also got him 85 Bears as well. So,
greatest defense of all time.
That's the old. Listen, and that's what they're going to hang their hat on. I get it because that was a great team, but that was a long time ago, guys. That was we were
37 years ago to be exact.
Before,
that's when I was born. I would know.
Yeah.
Preschool, guys want to. When the last time you guys won a ring, I needed nap time, okay? And I'm the oldest one here on the screen, so it just tells you everything going on.
We still need nap time.
Okay? So, listen, in all fairness, you're not lying. I do come home and take a good nap, and nothing beats a good nap, okay? Next thing you know, you're watching a series on Netflix, and you wake up, and the thing's saying, are you still watching? The answer's no. I fell asleep. So, it happens. So Jeffrey Dressler here with the Dolphin comment. Sorry again, Jeffrey. We're not gonna ruin the teams here. It's not hating the Dolphins. Said very nice things about the Dolphins today, except for when I told Gesicki to come on down to the Giants because he wants to be there. I can't help it, guys. You guys didn't.
I have a good stat about the Dolphins.
You had your chance with them.
I have a good stat about the Dolphins, real quick. I got into a discussion on Twitter. I don't know, about like 2 days ago, where people were talking about the best quarterback head coach combos in the history of the NFL. And, they listed the obvious ones, Belichick, Brady, Bradshaw, and Noel. They mentioned the obvious ones. And then I threw in a couple of extras. I'm like, yeah, those are all obvious. You got Sean Payton, you got Drew Brees. I mentioned Marino, and I mentioned Shula. So then I kind of went down the rabbit hole of looking at Don Shula's career as a head coach. I couldn't believe it. Don Shula coached the Miami Dolphins. I want to say, when did he start coaching the Dolphins? In the 60s, right? Maybe the very early 70s. He coached the Dolphins for like 30 years. He only had, I think it was 2 losing seasons in 30 years as their head coach. 2.
Damn.
I was amazed by that. I mean, even Bill Belichick had like 6 losing seasons because he was with the Browns for 3 years, and then he's lost like 2 or 3 times the last couple of years with the Patriots. He only had 2 losing seasons his entire career. That was crazy. Tomlin still hasn't had a losing season, by the way.
Yeah, no. And it was crazy.
He was on the hot seat.
Ironically enough, on a different post I saw on social media today, somebody was talking about Andy Reid, talking about the all Andy Reid team. And I'm like, you could say this about any guy who's coached for 20, 30 years. Don Shula, Bill Belichick, Chuck Knowles, all these guys, they're going to have great rosters to be combined because they've been playing, coaching for so long, and they were successful for so long. And one guy came at me, and this was a Dolphins fan. He said, well, Don Shula couldn't find a running back no matter what. I'm like, I'm sorry, you've never heard of Mercury Morris? Have you never heard of Larry Zonka? Are you even a Dolphin fan? Like, really, who are you?
Yeah, I remember
hell?
I remember the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar running back for the Dolphins. That's my era with the Dolphins. Remember him for about 2 years?
Yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah. That was right before the Ricky Williams years, I believe.
Yes, right before the Ricky Williams years. Yes.
Oh yeah, right before his whole career went up in smoke. No pun intended.
It was the times.
Guys, we got like 20, 25 more. We have comments coming up faster than we can even go through. So I'm going to say this, guys. I'm going to go through later on. I'm going to give you guys each a response to the comments in the actual comments section there, because we appreciate everybody coming on and giving your guys' thoughts here and everything. We know you guys took the time to give us a comment, so we're going to take the time to give you a comment later on as well, because Chris has got things to do. I'm sure was talking to us, like I said, for 5 hours here, and I know Rob's got to be up early in the morning, and I have to be up early as well. But the nice thing is that I'm the boss, so it's the benefit. It's good. It's good to be the king.
How did you
Nap time in the break room.
So, did you grow up in Tampa or did you grow up in New York?
So I'm a Jersey, actually originally from Monmouth County.
Okay.
And to be very frank, I never wanted to live there. Never wanted to live there. And it's partly is because I deal with the cold very well. Don't get me wrong, I can go out in 20-degree weather in shorts and a t-shirt and be fine. But just because I can deal with it doesn't mean I enjoy it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't enjoy it either.
Right
but
now
I was going to ask you
every winter. I say that.
I will say though, Drew. Drew, New York
time here right now this time of year.
The New York weather has not been. The last 4 or 5 winters have not been that bad here. Not in comparison to and I guess global warming's kicking in. I don't know, but it has not been. It has not been that bad here the last 4 or 5 winters.
You can only look out for so long. Winter is coming. Not to steal an HBO line. Eventually.
We've only had 5 cold days this year. Real cold.
It has not been bad at all, man.
To be that obnoxious guy from Florida who's going to post random palm tree pictures while y'all are shoveling snow. It just has to be that way. I can tell you this. Here's a good one for you real quick before we go. So, last year during the Chicago Bear game, which we all know was probably the pinnacle of embarrassment of the New York Giants, I was not at home watching the game. I was watching the game from the beach. And I got in for a swim at halftime. That's why I live here.
I was live streaming the game, but that was a game. If I was not live streaming the game, I would have done the same thing. Well, I wouldn't have went to the beach, but I would have went about my day because that game was an embarrassment.
Hey, come on down and visit, man. Beaches are lovely here. Trust me, they're great. It's this is like heaven. Rob's been down here before. He came down last year for my wedding, so. It's heaven down here. It's heaven down here, man. I'm telling you, anybody who's thinking about it, the move. Listen, the only thing that stinks about here compared to back home is the food. That's it.
You're talking me into it, Drew.
Anything,
I have a government. I work for the government, so I may start looking for may start looking for a transfer to Tampa. You're talking me into it,
dude. You let me know, man. I'll the good and bad. The West, no matter what anybody says, because it's what it is. Here's the thing. Okay, listen, I might get a couple comments here saying that jerk just talked bad about his home area, but I'm going to say it anyway. The reason I love the West Coast is because it's more Midwesterners than it is Jersey and New York people, and I love my home area. I love my home people. Don't get me wrong, but y'all in a rat race. It's like going each way to work. It's like rushing to get cut somebody off just to make the next.
Wait. I got a question. I got a question.
Slower pace mentality here. This is a slower pace.
I got a question. Rob, I'm assuming you're from the New York, New Jersey area.
Yeah, Central Jersey.
Okay, I'm from New York. So I get what you're saying because that's what New York is. New York is in your face, fast paced. But by the same token, when I go down south, when I go to North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, it annoys the hell out of me how slow-paced everything is. I go into a diner, and it takes me a half hour to get my pancakes. New York, they're there in 4 minutes.
See, you're right, but here's the beauty of it.
Flip
This
that
is
table.
not the South. This is the fake South. This is the fake because it's Florida. You go to like the busy areas of Florida, it's like break your banjo, but like it's that kind of area. Like it's like people eating gator bites on their docks and stuff like that. Like it ain't like that here in Tampa Bay. Okay, like this is like, first off, nobody is pretty much from here that lives here. Like you might as well shut down the maternity wards and just double the Alzheimer wings. I'm telling you, it's like, it's crazy. Like nobody is from here. Like the population, it's like maybe 10% are actually born and raised in this area, and that's it.
It's a big
So
college
it's not like the
area,
rest of
right?
Florida,
Tampa?
like you're probably thinking. It is. You got USF not too far, so that's why when I go to the we got a big Giants bar actually out here in Tampa, and I like to wear my JPP jersey because it's right next to you. To go there.
Makes sense.
And then you got, of course, University of Tampa right there. But I mean, it's also a big spring break area. I'm telling you, the beach during college spring break, loaded up with people. It's insanity. But like I said, it's a chill area. It's that happy medium. It's not as rat racy, which I still do every so often. It feels like home. I don't know why it does. It just does. But it's still nice to have that kind of fast pace every so often. Also, when you have a pork roll, egg, and cheese in your hand as well, it's a good feeling. It's a different thing, when you can have a little more work-life balance, have a little more enjoyment, like go to the beach whenever you want, and that's just what I love about it. And don't get me wrong, I love the beach, and I loved the beach growing up in Jersey. I'll tell you this real quick before we get going here. So he actually, so we were actually, his cousin, my now wife here, we went to go visit his other cousin, her sister, over in a town called Largo. When we did that, we came back up to Jersey, went to the beach. And we're like, let's go visit the Jersey beach. It can't be that bad. We love the Florida beach. Let's go. We go there. Something hits my leg. And I'm like, what the hell is this? That's not good. What's that? I didn't see what it was. Something else hits my leg. I'm like, what the hell is this now? I look over. It's a dead fish. Listen, if the fish can't live in the water, I ain't going in it. That's for sure. So, and what's crazy is now we got Entertainah here in the background, and on the, I'm not sure what, we got two different Entertainahs here. We got double the Entertainah here.
Oh, I think I froze.
Like,
it looked like I froze, so I dropped back out and came back in real quick.
You did. It kicked you out momentarily now, so we're going to kick out the extra Entertainah here. We got two Entertainahs for the price of one here. Okay, I'm just saying that's a big here at that point. Yeah. So, real quick before we get going here, let everybody know where they can find your work at there, because it's great work, guys. And I can say this honestly, I watch his post-game shows, and I gotta get the fans' vibe, so it helps guide our show to a little bit as well. So we do kind of steer stuff in that regard. I'll tell you that up front, but it's because it's a great the community this man has built. Honestly, like you go into a game like a post-game thing, and he's got like 500 people sitting there like keyboard warring away
during
like
the
crazy
games,
with either really happy thoughts or let everybody go.
It's usually you get a little bit of both. The games are crazy. Like I do the play-by-plays for the games. I get like 4,000 people in there for that. That's like, it's almost like a virtual stadium. And then the post-game shows, it's a lot of fun. You talk to 1,000 angry Giants fans or 1,000 happy Giants fans, and I've been doing Giants content on YouTube now for 5 years, which is crazy how fast time flies. Never thought I was going to take it nearly as seriously as I do now. I actually did it full time before this past year, and then I said, all right, I'm going to go get a job and start, get the pension thing. And so I went and got a job, but I'm still doing this as almost like a part-time thing. But absolutely love doing it, man. I talk Giants. It's on YouTube. I'm thinking about doing a podcast in the near future, but I've been saying that for 3 years, so who knows if it's ever going to happen. I just did it for fun, and it kind of evolved into something more. Actually, a quick story. The way I started my channel, I broke up with my ex-girlfriend at the time, and I was just trying to get my mind off of her, and me and my friends would always send goofy videos. sports related, and they said, "You're funny. You should make a YouTube channel. Get your mind off of her." And it just kind of organically grew just by building a fun community. And before you know it, you got 50,000 subs, and you're making Giants content for almost a living. So it's just a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys for having me on.
Please.
And I love talking Giants. Sorry, Drew. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Please tell us that you got your next girlfriend as one of your fans, because that'd be a spectacular story. That the whole thing goes full circle like that. I'd be like, oh, this is spectacular. Like, broke up with one, starts this program, meets this love of his life. Like,
no. What I will tell you is, I've never met a girlfriend. I gotten a girlfriend off of my YouTube channel. I haven't tried. Girls have sent me explicit photos. we'll leave it at that. that I can say, but I never a girlfriend.
Let me just. Those are the ones to avoid. I know it's tempting, but those are the ones to avoid.
Yeah.
Oh, I avoid them like the plague. I avoid them like the plague.
Yeah.
But it has happened.
Oh yes. Yes. Which has only moved in the phrase now lately, doesn't it? Like, seriously. You notice we used to always say avoid like the plague. Nobody says that since COVID anymore now. It's like, I don't want to say that now. I don't want to jinx it.
Oh, that's a good point. Right? I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so.
But I had a lot of fun, man. I had a lot of fun
getting
getting to know you. Oh, sorry, Drew. What'd you say?
Oh, no, sorry. We got a delay again there. So I was going to say, let everybody know also that where to find you on Twitter. Everybody can get stuff, man,
yeah, I'm pretty active on Twitter too. Sometimes I'm obnoxious, but I just have fun. I talk with Giants fans on there. It's at the Entertainah, just like the name is spelled here, ENTERTAINAH. I put no thought into that name. I was just starting a YouTube channel. I just typed it in. I wanted to kind of have a New York flair with the name. I didn't know what to come up with, so that's the story with that. But yeah, you can find me at the Entertainah or Entertainah Talking Sports on YouTube.
Yeah, and appreciate you coming on, man, and giving us all this time, because you've been on here for like almost like an hour and a half now. Woof. Warrior.
Hey, man, I always try.
Yeah, we just kept getting comment after comment after comment.
Whenever, Giants guys reach out to me, I try to work with them. So, I had fun with you guys. Hopefully we get to do it again in the future. Hopefully we're talking about Daniel Jones becoming the next franchise guy in a year or two. Hopefully that's the case.
Yeah. And if you're ever looking for a guest on your show, we're happy to return the favor.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, when what I tend to do, like right now, it's kind of a dead time. Like obviously, we're kind of waiting for the Jones news, we're waiting for the Barkley news. But yeah, leading up into the draft, I have tons of like smaller content creators or guys that I haven't worked with in the past pop on for like a 15, 20-minute segment. Definitely have you guys on for that if you guys are up for it.
Yeah, definitely would be interested. Appreciate it, man. And of course, Giant fans, I want to thank you all for listening in to everything as well, and hear what these two goofballs in the Entertainah have to say here about the Giants quarterbacks. Like I said, amazing day to have a conversation with the Giants quarterback with all the news here going on here. So do me a favor, guys, if you haven't already. I say it's crazy, like woof. But hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share, whatever it is on the platform you're on, because we're on so many platforms.
One thing I got to tell you, Drew. You said hit the like, hit the share. I don't even say that. But the one thing you got to tell your subscribers, if you're trying to build up a community on YouTube, at least, I can't speak for the other platforms that you're talking to. You got to ring the bell, because if they don't ring the bell, they're not going to get notifications when you go live.
Yeah,
I gotta ring the bell.
Ring my bell.
I gotta get a little bell here. I gotta get a little bell. You know what? I'm gonna get. I think a little cowbell here. Now I'm gonna put it here, and we'll call it the Entertainah bell. Now we're gonna call it that. And if ever I get sick, I'm gonna use a little cowbell, because I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
It's more cowbell.
That's definitely my top 5 SNL skits.
It's
like
right
all time, like SNL skits. You got cowbell, you got the Jeopardy, the Alex Trebek Jeopardy was always really funny. I'm trying to think of some of the other the Down by the River with Chris Farley, that was a classic. But the cowbell is certainly up there for me.
Have you seen the Sweaty Balls one?
Of course, epic.
Oh, yeah. That's gotta be up there. And I gotta wonder now. We put the new Mario thing up there as well, because that Mario Kart trailer was amazing. That's probably the most money I ever spent. Oh, you got to look this up.
Oh, it's fantastic.
They did a version of Mario Kart as an HBO show with the guy from Mandalorian that's in that new one that HBO is doing that I haven't started yet.
Yeah,
it was
Pascal,
hilarious.
Chad Pascal.
Yeah, and they're like, who is this? And he goes, "It's me, Mario." And then the girls in the car with him, and she goes, "What happens if we fall off the track?" He's like, "The man with the cloud uses a crane and puts you back on the track again." She's like, "Oh."
I gotta watch it. It's hysterical.
It's
Dude,
fantastic.
classic. Absolutely hilarious here. So again, Giant fans, so we get a sidetrack yet again. We got to get the Riddle in me here tonight.
Yeah, sorry. Sometimes I ramble.
No,
Sometimes
dude, you're good. Trust me. We go full.
Listen, we go and rant all the time.
There's a reason we've been on here for an hour and 35 minutes. Trust me. It's not you rambling. It's us. So, guys, again, thank you very much for listening in. Whether you're listening on Facebook, Twitter, or on YouTube here live, or if you're watching later on, or if you're listening later on one of the many different podcast apps, we're on pretty much every podcast platform there is known to man. So here's my ask for everybody. If you're listening to us on audio, go over to one or two of the video things. Is that way you get either way? If you're watching at home, you can, another time you can do that. If you want to listen on the car ride to work, you can do that. If you're watching us live, share with a friend. Subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're using. Because I doubt you're just watching videos at home. You're probably that guy that's in the car. I don't feel like going to the office. I'm going to give 5 more minutes to this Giants program. Because we've all done it. It's okay. I'm the boss.
Now 2 hours late for work.
It's okay. We've all done it. You can admit it. Listen, no, I don't do 2 hours late for work. Then I get called out because then I can't yell at people when they're late. Like 5-10 minutes, you're allowed. That's it. That's the rule. But again, appreciate everybody for listening. Entertainah, again, thank you very much. Much appreciated you coming on the program here with us tonight.
Thank you.
As always, Giant. Rob, before we go, we didn't explain to him what we do at the end. You want to
go, G-Man?
We do the go G-Men. We do go G-Men. We go there. We go hard. We go ahead and look at that. He pulled a muscle in his chest. They're doing it even. That's how hardcore he's going here. So
I did. I was getting crazy.
Here we go. Are you right there? Do you need the Heimlich maneuver or something?
Yeah.
I don't know why the Heimlich maneuver would help you with a pulled muscle, but I went for it. That's what I went for. I don't know why. It's the random medical knowledge that I have. So remember, Giant fans, as always, go G-Men!
Go G-Man!
Go G-Men!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support. If you made it this long, you must have enjoyed it. So I am sure you have followed us on all the social media platforms. Of course, you have subscribed to the show on your favorite app as well and given us a top rating. Right? Right? Right?